Jeff here with Signature Real Estate Group. It's Christmas time, so I wanted to get a Merry Christmas out to everybody, but I wanted to read something. I did a little research on the history of Christmas and kind of where it came from. This is Christmas history. The first recorded Christmas on December 25th was by Constantine in 336 AD. Now, Constantine was the first Roman emperor that declared himself a Christian. A few years later, Pope Julius declared Christ's birthday to be celebrated on that December 25th. Most historians actually believe, though, that Christ was born in the springtime. Now, this is because, the shepherds were out there tending their sheep, and since Mary and Joseph had to go to Bethlehem or go outside of their area for a census, this was most likely done during the springtime. It wouldn't have been done in the wintertime. People weren't traveling around. It was too cold. Daylight wasn't long enough. So with all of this, more than likely Christ was not actually born in the wintertime. So why was December 25th chosen? Well, the solstice was a common practice back then. It was a common celebration. This was a time to celebrate the end of the shortest year, the end of winter. That's hard times. Wintertime was hard times, so they had something to look forward to. Brighter days, warmer days. Also, there was a feast called Juvenalia. This was a feast that the Romans practiced. It was a celebration honoring the children of Rome. Scandinavia celebrated Yule. This is where the term the Yule log comes from. Jews celebrate Hanukkah. Germans celebrated the pagan god of Odin. And very, very early Christian tradition actually says that Mary announced the birth of Christ on March 25th, that she would become pregnant. 9 months later, we have December 25th. With so many celebrations, it was easy for the emperor to pick this time of the year. Christmas then would become a tradition of getting drunk, causing much grief. And this went on for centuries. Remember, it was a celebration. Around 1645 in England, Puritans were trying to rid the area of the holiday. They wanted to make it illegal since it isn't really when Christ was born. And being such a ruckus type of celebration, they didn't want it to be part of it. It needed to be banned according to them. The Pilgrims that came to America did the same. In fact, in Boston, Christmas was actually outlawed from the years 1659 to 1681. It wasn't until the 1800s when an early America needed a major holiday, a peace and solidarity, a holiday that would be family friendly. That's when it was changed in the early 1800s. It became an American holiday back then, a time of Christmas trees, giving presents, even sending holiday cards. In the beginning, Constantine did right. He unified several celebrations into one. It is continued to be a celebration, the birth of a man that changed the world today as we know it. The birth of a man known as the Christ. There's a poem that I love to read every year about this time of year, and it's one I'd like to close out with. One that it was written by Dr. James Allen in 1926. It's entitled One Solitary Life. He was born in an obscure village, the child of a peasant woman. He grew up in another obscure village where he worked in a carpenter shop until he was 30. He never wrote a book. He never held office. He never went to college. He never visited any big cities. He never traveled more than 200 miles from the place where he was born. He did none of these things, usually associated with greatness, and he had no credentials but himself. He was only 33. His friends ran away. One of them denied him. He was turned over to his enemies. He went through the mockery of a trial. He was nailed to a cross between two thieves. While dying, his executioners gambled for his clothing, the only property that he owned. When he was dead, he was laid in a borrowed grave through the pity of a friend. 19 centuries have come and gone, And today, Jesus is the central figure of the human race and a leader of mankind's progress. All armies that have ever marched, all the navies that have ever sailed, and all the parliaments that have ever sat, all the kings that have ever reigned put together, have not affected the life of mankind on earth as powerfully as this one solitary life. To everyone out there, Merry Christmas.